Warning, this video contains adult content not suitable for children.
Hey, what's up? It's Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger, and today I'm joined by
Sean Delrymple.
Yeah, he's gonna guest host with me today, and tell him a little about yourself, man. What do you do?
I'm a local comedian. I do comedy all over Indiana and sometimes in other connecting states.
Yeah.
Also a father of six.
Six. That's crazy. Six.
Actually, I have three that I have custody of, and then about a year ago, I got with this woman who has three of her own.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I say six but I have four.
Yeah.
My girl has two previous, and then I have my oldest, and then we have a kid together. So being a dad is such like a big part of both of our lives, and all of us. I mean, Jordan's got a few kids in his own. He's got three kids, and then his girlfriend has a few, and then Brian's got two, and then a couple illegitimate. He doesn't tell his wife. Oh! I'm just kidding. No, he did. And nothing like that. Not that we know about. It might be true. I might have just gave away something we don't know, but yeah.
I like to say I have kids like a good hand of spades.
Yeah.
Six with a couple possibles.
That's funny. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, you've been doing that's how we met each other. Is we're doing stand up and doing different things there, and then actually you're dating or know somebody related to Barbie. It used to be Edging, but I think it's like a different name now. She got married.
I'm related to her.
You're her
so
cousin?
like we're technically cousins through marriage. Like her dad is the son of the old mayor of Logansport, Mayor Bill Vernon.
Yeah.
And my uncle is married to one of Bill's other kids, Les Vernon.
So it's like you by marriage, and you know her. And did you grow up with her, like around her?
She's actually really good friends with my sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was always over at the house, and we didn't know. One day when we were both older, we found out.
Yeah. That's funny because I've known Barbie for a while because when I used to do the Right to Play music shows down at Goblin Games, which is now like nothing, but it was like the Wing Stop or the Wing. What was that Wing place downtown? Not Wing Stop.
Wings Etc.
Yeah. It was Wings Etc. Recent, like the most recent, I think. But before that, it was Goblin Games, and I think it was a bar. It was the comedy club for a minute too. Yeah. But anyway, Goblin Games. I lived underneath there, and we used to do shows above. And Barbie used to come to shows. She dated a guy named Trey, who I think she married and had kids with too, and that he was in a band called Awaken the Dead. So that's how I met her through all that, mostly from partying and music and
stuff.
See,
I used to be in a pop punk band too, and we used to do shows in Rochester.
Yeah.
We were called Fury's Drowning Heart.
Yeah.
She came to those shows a lot too.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a group of people that lived in Logansport in the early 2000s that were just growing up and loving pop punk, and as you know, around here that is not the norm.
Yeah, it's a lot heavier, or it's like a lot lighter. The crazy thing is there's so much in between. And for a while there, we did shows at Goblin Games. When I say we, it was me, Matty Kroll, who you met, who shot our stuff. Yeah. Justin Clark, who's in my band. Matty Kroll's in my band with me, and then there was a few other people like Derek Wendell. I don't know if you know Derek Wendell. There's a few guys. We all were a part of this thing called the Right to Play Music, which was based off of Awaken the Dead, that band, Trey, that Barbie's, I think, husband. I think they're still married. I don't know. I don't know personal lives. I know they have kids and stuff together. But that band actually got stopped from playing a show or practicing in their own house on a Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon or whatever. And so the police got called, and then they decided to start this thing called the Right to Play Music Festival, where it was everybody, whether you like the style of music, should have a right to play. And then they did the whole festival. I came in to help with the petition the day of, and then when all the stuff died down, we didn't have anywhere to play shows. Gorilla Skate Park was the place, most of them in DKs, and then they stopped doing shows. So I went to the Goblin Games and was talking to them because it was the old Sycamore Marketplace at the time, and I was like, "You guys use that stage?" They're like, "No, we might get rid of it. We might stream some shows on it or stream some games on it." And I was like, "Would you guys ever be willing to do some shows?" So me doing that festival, doing all this small stuff, got me into the Right to Play Music, and then we did a whole nother festival and did I want to say 10 shows, 12 shows there, rocked it, and then did a couple more at DKs and stuff. But we did so much music stuff that it was crazy to know. What did you play in the pop punk band?
I was actually the lead singer. I actually was all state choir when I was in
yeah?
high school. Yeah,
you still sing?
I could sing. Yeah.
Yeah, you still do it all the time?
Not in a band anymore, but yeah, totally in the shower or around the house or at work.
Oh yeah.
They used to call me the singing waiter.
Oh yeah, you sing at work. I remember
Yeah.
you just worked at B-Dubs, right?
I worked at B-Dubs here for a long time.
I love B-Dubs. My brother like grew up working at B-Dubs. Like Jacob Granger is his name. He worked there forever, and then he got knocked up his wife, who's his wife now, and then they got married, and he moved to Michigan, and he actually worked as a manager up there for a long time. But now he's running steel mills. But he watches the podcast, so I always have to say things about him. But he used to work at B-Dubs, so the fact he worked at B-Dubs, he's going to love this podcast in general. Because he still, I mean, to this day, I think he still picks up his shift every once in a while, goes in and, I mean, maybe not now because he's not living in Michigan, he's living in northern Indiana now, but he used to pick up a shift every once in a while just for fun.
Yeah.
He loved it.
I did the waiting tables thing for a long time. Like from the time I was 18 till like just after like they let us go back to work after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was sick of it. I do comedy so much, and like working at night is not advantageous to
it's
that
not conducive to that whatsoever. Yeah.
So, I decided, it's time to get a new job. And really, for a while, I was just like, I'm going to go full-fledged on this comedy. And the thing about that most people don't understand about starting out in comedy is if you're not a headliner, you're probably not getting paid more than the gas that it costs to get to the venue.
Exactly, yeah.
So
you need the It's funny because you need either multiple comedy like bars, you need multiple like comedy venues, or you need to like be able to like live on the street, I guess, because like you need to be able to go to multiple places to get stage time in order to even get to the point where you're an opener, and then you're a middle, and then you're a headliner, and sometimes that happens quicker than others. And I know in town we mostly just did like open mics. I mean, and then you actually started doing actual shows. I only did a couple of shows with my name on the thing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna do like 2.
The thing is, my whole life I wanted to do comedy.
Yeah.
Like as a little kid, I would sit on my dad's lap and we would watch George Carlin or Eddie Murphy, and like I always thought, man, I would love to do that. And after I got divorced, I got divorced about 6 years ago, and I was bummed for a long time. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do the thing that makes me happy.
Yeah. I think having a dream or a goal or even like anything at all, something to aspire to is so important. That's why so many people are depressed and unhappy and miserable, I think, is because they don't. Jordan and I always talk about this on the podcast, actually. We always talk about how, like, one of the things that got him out of that dark place was doing things that he loved.
Speaking of
wrestling,
Jordan, I've seen all the wrestling videos.
Man.
He's doing such a... And it just seems so much happier.
And the funny thing is how quick Jordan has been to like learn how to do the editing of the video software, because that shit, man, sometimes it'll bog you down forever. And I like how Jordan just kind of leans into it. And he's been a performer. He's loved wrestling all his whole life, and he's been into doing podcasts, doing jokes, goofing off. Not so much stand up like where me, you, and Brian kind of cut our teeth a little. I got a little bit later into the stand up. I was doing the Kokomo Scanner 2.0 page before that, so like I was behind the scenes doing stuff, pulling strings, but then started doing comedy and met you. And like I said, the reason why I brought up Barbie in the first place is she's the first person that ever mentioned your name to me, because she's like, hey, are you still doing comedy? I was like, yeah. She's like, what about, Burt Jones? Are you going to go up there? And I was like, yeah, I might go up there. And she's like, yeah, my cousin does stand-up up there. And I was like, for real? And she's like, yeah, his name's Sean, And I was like, no. I was like, but I'm going to go up there. And then I went up there and she didn't fucking show up. But I got to hang out with you, and I got to, do some comedy, so it was fine. But she got me to come up and meet you, and then we ended up doing we've done multiple skits and stuff together. And
shows. The Kokomo police skit, that was my favorite. I loved it.
The COVID police, that was. We were actually going to do I don't know if I should say this, but Brian and I have talked about doing a Kokomo like almost like a Reno 911, like a Kokomo live PD.
I'm always available.
Yeah, good. We're gonna need people to do it with, but we were gonna dress up as cops and just because that COVID police skit we did, it like really was so much fun. We had a great time, lots of jokes. The premise, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own home because I did write it, but the premise of it was so funny to me because we're like, what if people just came in your house and like arrested you for not following COVID in your own home?
But the thing I like about working with you is when I work with you, it's an environment where, like, if somebody has input or wants to do something and you think it's okay, great. You're not one of those, like, no, let's do it.
No. Some things, see, I've learned a little bit with the show, the TV show, right? We were doing the pilot. We're still haven't finished shooting it just because getting this many people together all the time is rough, but we've shot a lot of it. And one thing I've actually had to learn to do better was not give up too much ground. because I'm very open to other people's suggestions and the ideas and trying to figure out. But when you're writing an overall arcing narrative, you have to make sure you hit the points. Totally. You know, it's like one of those connected dots. You got to make sure you hit the point. If you miss a couple of them, the picture might be weird, might be wonky. You might still get something, but it's not going to be the masterpiece you thought you were getting when you were connecting those little 1, 2, 3 all the way through the connected dots.
Yeah. I'm excited about that also.
Yeah.
I'm rumored to be on the show.
Yeah, you'll get on there. Yeah, we're writing more and more episodes. It's like our biggest problem with the show is getting the episodes shot, getting the episode, because the first episode, it's the pilot. It's the one that's going to sell people on it. And shout out to Canary Currency for even giving us the idea, or even the gravitas, or even thinking that we could have the ability to do something like this, because they kind of pioneered this locally of like, we're going to do a TV show.
I mean,
it's
the
awesome.
show's great. And to bring it like to Kokomo, like most people think of Kokomo as a Chrysler plant and some cornfields, but
it's true.
But there's talented people here. There's things going on here.
There's so many talented people, and I mean, in so many different ways that sometimes you can lose track of it through the meth and heroin and the potholes and the weird streets and, you know, the every other little dumb thing we have going on here. You know, there's a Popeyes opening. We got to think about that. You know, we got a Gabe's. You know what I mean? It's getting bigger and there's so much going on, but at the same time, there are so many talented and interesting people in Kokomo, and people do lose sight of that pretty quickly.
Yeah. But I got a bone. Now that you bring up Gabe's, I got a bone to pick.
Oh, tell me about this. Yeah.
All right, so I saw your post about Gabe's, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go in there. I gotta go in there."
Does it suck?
I'm not a fan.
See, here's what happened, and listen, like Gabe's, if you want to sponsor the podcast, forget all of this is being said, because I don't want to throw off any sponsors. But Gabe's, I went there the day that they did the soft opening. It was the first day they were open, and we were driving by, my girl and I, and she was stoked about this. She's literally spending so much time in TJ Maxx and Ross that I was like, man, I need a break from my bank account needs a break. But she was like, hey, let's go in there, let's check it out. It's a soft opening. I was like, sure. It's huge. We get in there. It's like wall to wall filled with stuff. Now, the first day we went in there, everything was in there. Everything was in there.
That's the problem with Ross. I'm a Ross shopper, but it's always picked over.
Oh God, it's bad. You almost have to go every day of the week in order to find a day that's good enough to find things, because, like you said, it just gets ransacked by so many people so often. And I mean, it is what it is. And it's not like something that gets backfilled. It's all stuff that's been overstocked that they've grabbed to put in these stores like TJ Maxx. And honestly, at this point, after going to Gabe's a few more times after that soft opening, I would honestly say it's a lot of stuff, but a lot of it's garbage that I have nothing to do with. I don't want to wear shirts that say, like, you know, eat dirt fresh, blah, like, or like, you know, some like, there's 2,500 tie-dyes. I love a tie-dye, but how many tie-dyes do I need to say, like, relax, Frankie says relax, or like, it's just like Bob Dylan shirts and stuff. I'm like, who is this for? You know, and I appreciate that we've got something new. I posted a photo on.
I saw it.
Did you see Kokomo first?
I get it.
You got it immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like, people that are from Kokomo, I was like, this is definitely people from Kokomo are going to get it, because it's like, I was in there looking through, and I was like, this place has been, like you said, picked apart. It's awful. And I look through, and I find a JCPenney shirt that says JCPenney's, and it says something about an American institution. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm in a JCPenney's that got, that went out of business and then became a Gabe's. It's like, I got to take this photo. And then I forgot to take the photo, and I was looking, like, I was thinking about, you know, I try to keep the page fresh. I try to post them every once in a while. And I was like, dude, I should post this and be like, you know, is anybody... Well, can you see what I see? Like, joking around, and it was really great, the response, the amount of people that got it, because I was worried that people would be like, "What the fuck is this?"
No, you know what? I looked at it for a minute, and I was like, "Okay, it's Gabe's," and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be subtle." So I'm looking around, and then like right in front of the JCPenney shirt, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
It was too funny, right? It was ironic. I was gonna post it and then put like the General Palpatine or whatever and be like, ironic, because I was like, but then I was like, that's feeding the joke to people. I was like, this one might be more fun if people can use it as like, what's the joke? And then we always try to do different things, you know. Yeah. It's been good though. I mean, like, honestly, like, the last time I went to Gabe's, there was literally nothing there, but there's a lot of great stuff for kids. And as a father of 6, and for me, a father of 4, like, it's nice to have a place you can go to get kids clothes, at least.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
nice
definitely.
Stuff.
Like, you know, like I said, we have 6 kids, and me and my fiance, we both work, we both make decent money, but we can't afford things like the school clothes shopping. we really can't afford it. So instead of that, we do a thing where every week, until they each have 3 outfits for school, one kid gets an outfit. Because then it's not such a hit to your bank account at one time.
You can spread it out over
And
time.
we actually went to Gabe's last weekend to get my daughter some clothes, and there was a cop in there. Like, the greeter is a cop now, and that just shows you Kokomo right there. Like, oh, we're gonna sell cheap stuff. We need a cop.
We need a cop, or this place is gonna get ransacked and nobody's gonna get to buy anything. They're just gonna steal it. It is pretty bad. I mean, the day that I was in there, the day that it opened, I went live in the store just because I was like, man, nobody else is doing this. It's I don't even know if people know it's open yet. This will be something to get attention, and at least I can help people while I'm in here because my girl's over there spending all the money. She ended up getting kind of annoyed with me for going live, though. She's like, you're supposed to be hanging out with me. I was like, you don't want me to hang out with you. You just want me to... It's like, you don't want me to actually hang out with me. You just want me to stand around you. I was like, meanwhile, I could
your
be...
clothes.
Exactly. So I was like, I'm just gonna go live in here. And I did it. And then, like, towards the end of it, there were like 7, 8 cops in there. I was like, dude, I don't even want to be in here, dude. It's like, I'm not even that gone. And I don't even want to be in here. I'm just like, so many guys in blue. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? But at the same time, I kind of, it's brand new. It's a huge store. That was what floored me when I walked in the first time, was just how it's... JCPenney's in there for years, and it never looked like it had this much stuff.
No.
Never.
It was like JCPenney's. It was like, oh, I want to get this shirt. Oh, there's shorts that match it. Way over there.
At the end of the... And then you get over there and you find out that they have like 2 sizes, and both sizes are like extra small, like pencil dick, and you're like, I don't have that.
No.
I don't have that. I don't have a big dick, but I have balls at least. I got that to put in there, and they don't fit balls in these shorts.
True.
But yeah, I was just happy. You're right. But it is a pretty big bone because since I've gone in there after that, it's like there's nothing. It's literally nothing. It's
nothing. And I wear a 2X in shirts.
Yeah.
And it's like,
they do have a decently like large, pun intended, big and tall section, but it's all like Carhartts and like Realtree.
I'm not that guy.
I know, right? I feel the same way. I'm like in there. I'm like, I could go for an XL or a 2XL and feel good about myself instead of being like, but I get in there and I'm like, I don't want to wear a Carhartt shirt or a Realtree shirt or even like their best they can do is like an Under Armour tee with like a like, what is it? Screen printed Under Armour that's going to come off in 2 weeks. I'm like, I just don't. Yeah. I don't have time for that. The first day I went in there, I got some great deals.
Yeah.
Since then, not so much.
Well, you're a jersey guy like
me.
And that's what made me like, I was like, I gotta go. Because you talked about getting that jersey.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
And then, I mean, Ross from time to time has some jerseys.
Yeah, Ross does. Sometimes CJ Maxx, I've gotten some decent ones in there every once in a while.
But you know what this town really needs is like a Stadium Goods shoe store. Like, obviously Stadium Goods isn't going to open a store in Kokomo, but like a store like that.
Yeah.
Because so many people in town care about their sneakers, and there's nowhere really to get it.
No, I mean, you've got Foot Locker, Finish Line, you've got Hibbett, maybe? Is that it? I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. But all of those stores sell Team Jordan, not like real Jordans.
Yeah. I think they do releases, but it's almost like at that point you can't ever get them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have so many jerseys. I just posted all. I think you saw. I posted 1,000. I was like, man, I stopped kind of wearing jerseys just because like I'm 33.
No, but I'm like, honestly, I'm thinking about buying that Reggie Miller one just to frame it.
It's decent, dude. I've had that for a while. That's actually one of the ones I've been hit up about, that one. And oddly enough, but not oddly enough, because I kind of get it, the Blazers Pippen. Because I'm like, nobody's seen that. Yeah, when I found that, I was stationed in Washington State, in Bremerton, about an hour from like, what is it called? Seattle. But it's like across the bay, so it's like an hour ferry ride. But across the bay, I don't know what the hell that is. That little, it's like anyway, the Cape Canaveral. I don't know what they call it. I don't even remember. It's been so long since I'm there. But they had a Goodwill there, and you're talking about multiple military bases in one area. People will just get rid of shit because nobody wants to carry all that when they're going places. So there would be jerseys in that Goodwill from everywhere. Like you would find a jersey from the local area, and then you would find a jersey that, like, I randomly found that. I mean, I guess it's local area because of that Blazers Pippen. It's pretty close to Oregon, Seattle is, so that's not that crazy. But then I found like a basically brand new screen print, although all black with the red lettering Michael Vick, and I was like, man, I can't wait to kill some dogs. I'm I'm just kidding. I love dogs. Just kidding. No, but I saw that and I was like, man, I've been looking for the perfect dog fighting shirt to wear to the dog fight this weekend. So I know that I'll show up in this one, man. I'm gonna be stunting.
What kind of dog fighting? You gonna fight a dog?
I will fight. I would fucking fight a dog, dude. If a dog came up to me, I'd hit him. I don't even care. I'm like, boom, fuck a dog. Yeah, like it's funny. You said that about Kokomo too, because like I don't know if you saw, they had a shooting again at Foster Park.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, you know, like my fiance won't let her kids go to Foster Park, but I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in the Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area of Florida, and like to me, it's like I keep trying to because. When we got together and got a place together, she moved from Greentown here to Kokomo. Yeah. And she's always like, oh, it's so unsafe here. And I'm like, no. I grew up in a place that was unsafe.
Yeah. You don't know this is your bubble. My mom has the same exact, she's from Miami. She grew up here, but she moved to Miami and did like high school. So for her, that's her formative years. So she's Miami, born and bred. Yeah. Her, my uncle, my grandma, that's all they fucking talk about.
Well, she would know I actually grew up in Hollywood, Florida, but it's like, it's all one. Once you get to Fort Lauderdale, it's just city until you're at the border.
And the only thing that changes the difference is the imaginary lines. I went down when I was younger to Florida, and it's really like, I haven't been there other than in the Navy, which is like Jacksonville, that's it. But when I was down there, I was in called Jupiter, Florida.
Florida, up in there. Yeah.
So there's a beaches there. It's like near like Miami or something like that. But yeah, we went there because my grandma's friend had a condo, and my grandma took me and my older brother to Disney World, not Land. That's California. Disney World, and I was too young to enjoy it, but I went.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm a huge Disney guy personally. I mean, I'm supporting a Disney-owned brand right now.
I know, right?
But, which, I mean, what isn't a Disney-owned brand at this point?
True. At this point, yeah. It's like everything, except for Fox. Well, not Fox.
Now they own Fox.
Sony is the one.
Yeah, Sony's it.
Yeah.
They actually, I watched this, there's this YouTuber, shout out to the company guy on YouTube. Yeah. He had this video about how much money Disney actually has and how much they actually own.
Yeah.
Right now, after buying Fox, they own 48% of movie tickets sold in America.
That's insane. I mean, it's not surprising based on like the movies I go see, because I know that they're basically just, with the properties they own, it's just a license to print money. Like that's what they always say. The one thing that Sony has that they'll never have at Marvel, or at least they don't really have, is Spider-Man, and that's more of a license to print money than anything, because he's just the biggest Marvel character, no matter what you try to do. But yeah, it feels like with all the things they own, they can just turn on the money printer and say, hey, we want to print money today. Yeah. I mean, did you see the new Venom movie? I don't want to give any spoilers.
I have not seen that yet.
Not gonna spoil. I went and saw it.
I haven't seen that or Black Widow yet.
You haven't seen Black Widow either? See, here's. It's funny that you put those two together. Me and my girl went to see Black Widow in theaters. Okay, when we were there, the last 10 minutes, the audio just went out and we couldn't hear anything. What? And then they tried to reset it. They couldn't reset it. So we got free tickets. We used those tickets to go see Venom.
Of course.
I mean, we've seen the movie since then, but like we've been kind of broke because I've been off work for so long that we're like, man, we want to go do something, but we're kind of broke, and we were talking about it, and I was like, we got these movie tickets. So last night we went and did that, and the movie's not. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but the movie's not terrible. It's not. I don't think it's the best narrative they could have come up with. I mean, go see it. It's a good movie, but it was packed in there last night. I know it was opening weekend, but it was packed in there.
Why, man? I mean, it's part of the Spider-Verse, so it's something that people want to see, which that's the movie I'm the most excited for. Oh, I've been watching like the YouTube guys who just talk about Marvel. Oh, yeah. I've watched so many videos about
I'm going to
this
name
movie.
some. You tell me if you've heard of these. Emergency Awesome. You heard of that guy? Yes. Emergency Awesome. And what about this Heavy Spoilers?
Yep.
You ever watch him? And then there's one more that I always watch. I can't remember this name right now. But yeah, if you ever go on to
Carlin Brothers.
There you go. Yeah, Everything Always. But that guy, I don't like that guy. He does a lot of speculation.
They're the ones that are credited with coming up with the Pixar theory.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Oh, we don't have time for the.
Is it like a whole like
watch it on YouTube.
Universe thing?
Super Carlin Brothers Pixar theory.
Yeah, check that out, man. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I have so much of that. YouTube. I don't know if it's just me or maybe you seem like you're very similar in that way. Is like my go-to for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I don't really watch TV. The only reason why I ever watch any TV is usually like sports or like a random movie here and there. But more than likely, I will literally just go on YouTube on my TV, my iPad, my phone, and I'll just be watching YouTube. Different things. Like, I have a pretty varied look at it. I mean, it's mostly comedy, like it's between like comedy, movies, like reviews. I like a lot of random things like
See, I
art.
watch this. I watch pretty much the same. Like, I watch this comedy stuff where it's like Hot Breath Comedy. Shout out to Hot Breath Comedy.
Yeah.
A lot of my writing. Thank you so much. So many pointers and tips from them.
Oh, baller! Yeah.
And then about the same things about Marvel stuff, movie stuff.
Yeah.
I watch old stand-ups, especially. Like, my favorite comic, the guy I try to emulate the most in my comedy is Ralphie May.
Yeah, I love Ralphie May.
Yeah. That was
Ralphie
my
May
guy.
is notoriously like undervalued for how funny he is. Some of the things that he's not a go-to for me, which is pretty. I mean, I'm saying this, but he's not a go-to for me, and maybe I'm the one that undervalues him. But whenever one of his things pops up and I watch it, I'm always dying. But I think the thing that always bothered me about him was like he had this very distinctive inflection that was almost like what do they call it, a black scent? He had a black scent. That's what I like to say.
He did, but he
did those rooms.
Yeah.
That's what and that was his bread and butter. And I can't really be mad at bread and butter with him. Poor guy. Ate himself to death, basically. He's not the only one. My favorite comedian is Patrice O'Neal, and he also ate himself to death. And I love Patrice O'Neal because, as you know, with me, I like offensive stuff. And
that's
so
the
funny.
same with Ralph.
Yeah, very offensive. Very good. Very funny. Watching those two on a Colin Quinn show, like them two go back and forth, is one of my favorite, like back and forths I've ever seen, because the two of them, they get it. And they it's like sparring for them because they're both so good. You can't really, there's not really a winner or a loser there because they're both strong enough to do it. And one of them might get the upper hand this time, but next time you don't know because they're good. But yeah, and then I know about Norm Macdonald passing.
Yeah,
which he's one of my favorites
the last couple of weeks watching Norm Macdonald.
Old
stuff.
Norm is so
and just
fun.
One thing, like if I had created this first, because it's so relevant right now.
Yeah.
This one joke I saw his that stands out above anything else to me. He was talking about Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
and he was like, it's a shame what happened to Bill Cosby. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
I don't really care for his comedy.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the other stuff he does. I did see that one. Well, the funny thing was I saw him on a talk show talking about how, that's one of his big things is he goes on talk shows and he would have these clips. But most of the people that have seen his clips from the talk show, they didn't watch the talk show. They saw it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody uploaded it, or it was uploaded by a rando, and then he builds this cult following on YouTube of people who love him on talk shows. Like the Moth Joke is like a classic. Everybody knows that one. Or like when he made fun of Andy Richter, the Swedish German. Like he does all these little jokes that are like. And the funniest thing about that Moth Joke, a lot of people don't realize. You know what I'm talking about, the Moth Joke. It's a 20-second joke. And he thought he was being brought back for a segment with Conan, and he thought it was only going to be a quick segment before they brought somebody else out. So he was like, cool. And he's like, how long do I have? And he's like, 7 minutes. And then instead of saying, well, I better talk about something else, he decides to draw the joke out for 7 minutes in this huge, like, elaborate. Check that out, too, on YouTube. It's the Moth Joke on Conan with Norm Macdonald. He draws it out in this huge, long joke, and then the punchline hits the end, and it almost is a better joke and it's just a street joke.
Yeah, but those are the kind of, from knowing you, I know those are the jokes you like.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember when you told me about the Bob Saget thing, and I since looked that up, and it was great. But you like those really long, drawn out, and then at the end, they bring it back, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Is that the one I told you about where they like, it's like a common joke that everybody does, but it's like gross. It's disgusting. About the family, they all get together. I actually learned that from my buddy Matty Kroll. He was into it before I ever got into it, and then I was like, dude, this is funny, dude. It's like the whole, and it's like every comedian has their own version of it, and it's almost like a rite of passage, like if you can make this work, like Gilbert Godfrey has a hilarious version of it too, and so many different people do it, but it's just, it's a very, you have to look it up. I can't remember the name of it. There's a, it's called the something family. Look up Bob Saget, the something family, but it's like the end of the joke is like Fuck, I can't remember. But anyway, it's a good. You'll have to look it up. It's Bob Saget. The joke about the family is what you should look up. But he does this whole thing, and then it's at the end. It's the same. Everybody ends with the same punchline, but the in between is disgusting, and they try to make it as nasty as possible in order to get. And then you're like, why? And at the end, they do the punchline, and it still doesn't. It doesn't forgive the rest of the shit that you've done, but it's like, oh, okay, you sons of bitches. Sense, yeah. But yeah, the Moth Joke was very similar. The light was on. The light was on. That's it. And it's like, that's the end of the joke. But yeah, when Norm passed away, I was my girl was looking at me like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm just sad because like 3 days earlier we were in this very room, she and I hanging out, and should we come in here when the baby falls asleep sometime in the swing in the living room? And then we're like, we don't want to wake him up, so we'll come in here and hang out and goof off for the night and watch videos and joke and have a great time. Mm-hmm. And I was watching some Norman, so it was really like a very eerie feeling to like 3 days earlier, I was watching him, and then he passed away from cancer. The silent battle for 9 years. Fucking Anthony Justin posted like having cancer for 9 years and not telling anybody is the most Norm thing ever, and I was like, that's legitimately funny, but. Yeah, I mean, with Norm and with all comics, dude, there's so many great comedians that I honestly think it's one of the greatest times for comedy, because the hardest thing about comedy growing up was you had to get an album. You had, I got to get an album with this guy, or I love the old Cosby album. I love the who else are we thinking about? Oh, Carlin, Pryor, any of them, Eddie Murphy. And if you listen to old comics, they always talk about this hour, and nowadays you go online and comedians every day a podcast is out. I mean, look at us right now. Yeah. But comedians every day put a podcast out, and you literally get to hear your favorite comedians' take on everything.
And it becomes so much closer to who they are as people.
You care about
not just who they portray themselves as comedians. Because I'm here to tell you, as a comedian, very different. Who I am in my normal everyday life. You can ask my friends. I'm a calm guy. I don't really crack jokes that much. You would never guess I'm a comedian. But I save that for the stage. I write. And I write. And I write. Yeah. And I write. And then eventually I come up with something that I think you'll enjoy. And since I say that, shameless plug alert.
Yeah.
Sean D is funny on YouTube. If you like this podcast and you like comedy...
Yeah.
Hopefully you like the stuff on
it. I think we follow you, don't we?
Yeah.
We should follow you. I'm pretty sure I always try to follow people I know that have done stuff with us, people that do comedy, like you, Barry, Grant, I know you know Barry. And like anybody like that who does comedy, I always try to follow their pages so that like the shit pops up. And if I see something on there that I think is hilarious, or like let's say you do a skit of some sort. Like I've posted stuff on the page before. Anytime I see something, I might miss something here and there, and send me a little, hey Jordan, did you see this video?
No, but I saw you hearted my last Friday. I did a comedy set in Harrison, Ohio. Yeah. I saw you hearted.
Yeah, that. I saw that. I watched a little bit of it. I can't remember how any of the bits in it, but I watched it. I know I think, did you do the Papers bit? That's one of my favorite bits you do.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin any of his bits. Check out Sean D is Funny on YouTube to see some of it. He's got some sets on there from multiple different places, so you'll be able to check that out. But yeah, that the Papers joke is so funny to me.
Thanks. A lot of people really like that joke, and for me, it's one of those things. Like I don't know if you remember when I first started, I did that joke that was very inappropriate, like rape joke, and that goes back to what you said with like comedy's good again because it's dangerous.
Yeah, you can make mistakes.
Yeah, like I could say the wrong thing and get canceled. So there's times that I decide maybe I'm not going to say this joke anymore. Yeah. And that is one of them, the take her back to soccer practice joke. Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
But people take things like jokes to be like who you are. Like you just let it explain it like, I write this stuff, this is a joke, this is me on stage. Who I am in real life is not the same person I am on stage. Maybe a little bit. It's like you turn up to like 10. You turn up to 10 and you say things that you would never say because it's fun. It's a goofy, it's a joke. And it's the same with a lot of the satire and stuff on our page. Like, you don't know who wrote it. There's multiple people that write for the page. You never know who wrote it, but a lot of people, like, they'll see something and they'll message me like, dude, you went too far. And I'll message them and be like, dude, that wasn't me. Also, nothing's too far because everything's fair for me.
Exactly. Nothing is too far. We're making jokes here. This isn't supposed to mean in a literal sense. Like, if we make a joke about race or race relations or rape or sexual harassment, that doesn't mean we condone those things. That just means we heard it or we thought of it in this way, and we think it's funny, so maybe you will.
or it's shocking, and we think we want to. A lot of comedy people, a lot of times will think that comedy is supposed to be funny all the time, and sometimes it's not. And people forget that really quickly. That sometimes comedy isn't supposed to be funny. It's supposed to shock you, and that's what makes things funny or interesting. Is whenever you listen to a comedian and you like you're in your head, you're mapping out like, oh, they're gonna go, and then they hit you somewhere differently, and you're like, what the hell? Like I had a bit, you probably heard it before, where it's a really stupid bit, but it's about like I remember the first time I was anally penetrated or I got fucking, you know, and it's like a stupid bit about how I'm walking home and there's some rustling in the bushes, and you're supposed to think like you're supposed to paint I try to paint the picture like there's dew on the ground, the sun was glistening. I try to do this like poetic thing, and then when, I always end up fucking it up when I do it on stage because I get nervous. But then and then it's like this whole, and then I was like, and then I shoved a marker up my ass. So this whole time you're supposed to be like, oh, like this guy jumped out and raped him. Oh my god! But really the joke isn't I got raped. The joke was I fucked myself in the ass with a marker. Like, and it's stupid and it's a goofy. But every time I do it, it either gets a belly laugh from a lot of people or it splits the crowd, and you just see people like, oh man, fuck this guy. And it's always interesting when both things happen because you'll find a crowd that loves it and thinks it's hilarious. They're like, oh, this fucking guy got me. Oh, he got me. He pulled the rug out from under me. And then you find a crowd that's like, oh, disgusting. And I like both, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate either one. Like, I have this new joke that I just did for the first time in Harrison. Oh, yeah. And it's about... I won't give away the whole joke because you need to watch my YouTube channel.
Do it.
But it's about... I don't understand why it took gay people so long to come out in football because if you think about football, there's so many things that...
If you go through the rabbit hole of football... Just a smacking of the ass in and of itself, and yeah.
And then the punchline is, I wish it would come out sooner because maybe we'd still have Aaron Hernandez.
Oh, poor guy. And he did have some gay sex, didn't he?
Yeah,
there was some stuff going on.
That's the whole reason for everything is the gay sex.
So if you understand, you got the Boston hat on. You know, when you said you were really into like Mickey Mouse stuff, I knew you liked Mickey Mouse stuff because you're a Boston fan. So.
I'm not a Boston fan, though.
You just have the Boston hat?
Yeah, I'm a clothes fan.
Yeah, you just like different stuff?
Yeah, like, this goes well with this, so I'm gonna wear it.
It's very,
I'm a Cardinals fan, actually.
How many times have you heard this? Is that a Christmas hat?
Yo, a lot.
Yeah, anytime, it's weird how people will take, like, two colors and just be like, this is all this is.
It's actually an Irish Pride hat.
Oh, yeah? Is there? Mm. Does it say it on there? Or?
No, it's got the colors and everything, and I looked it up on the internet.
Hell yeah!
They said.
See, you saw my jersey collection. I have a lot of Boston Celtics jerseys, and most of the reason I have them is because when you can see right there, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm a huge Ray Allen fan. I've been a huge Ray Allen fan. He got game. That's why I watched that movie for the first time, and I loved that movie. And so I'm a huge Ray Allen fan, and he got traded to Boston, and then that season was such a cool season. And I had a buddy of mine who was a huge Lakers fan, and if you guys know anything about that season, those two teams met in the finals. 2007, 2008, something like that. 2008. I knew I was in the Navy at the time. I was in Italy, and we were jibber jabbering back and forth to each other. And I got a Beat LA shirt, which was hilarious. And we were just joking. And then the Celtics won the championship, and I was like, my buddy Spencer. I was like, I got you, Lane. His last name was Lane, so I was like, I got you, Lane. And we would make fun of each other. And so I was such a huge fan of that team that I loved Rondo. So I got the Rondo jersey, or I got the Ray Allen jersey with the black. Because I like the green with the black and the white. And then I got a Rondo jersey that just was a regular green. And then I found a Paul Pierce all black, which they never wore those, but I was like, this is badass. And then I found a KG, Luck of the Irish, where they have their St. Patty's Day gold on it. And then I have a white like home jersey of like Larry Bird. So I have like 5 Boston Celtics jerseys randomly. I'm not even a huge Celtics fan, you know. I got into them then because of Ray.
And of course, a lot of Indiana people, if Celtics aren't their favorite team, they're top 5 because of
Larry Bird. And now you got Brad Stevens. You always, and I think right now, is playing for him. What's his name? The guy from But the guy that played for IU, and he was from I can't remember. He has a weird Holiday. It's not Holiday, but it's a weird last name. But anyway, he plays for them now, and at different times, like E'Twaun Moore from Purdue played for them too. They always have a lot of Indiana.
They drafted Jawan Johnson too from
Purdue. Same year. Yeah, that was a funny one. There was a lot of random Indiana players always end up playing out there, and then like I said, with the connection to Brad Stevens and stuff and Larry Bird. So it's like those two franchises are so close in a lot of ways because of that. And I feel like if you're a Pacers fan first, you might still like have a little bit of Boston in you from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we both are Pacers fans.
Yeah, I'm a huge Pacers fan. I mean, this year I'm excited. I was sad to see. Did you see the Karis LeVert news about his back?
Yeah.
That bummed me the fuck out because
But you know what?
Maybe we'll
Here's
find
my
a good
thing,
year.
and if I could make a plea here and now to the Pacers organization,
Listen, Pacers,
we do not want Ben Simmons.
Please don't. Like,
we don't want Ben
I'm
Simmons.
with you. Like leave him in Philly. I want. He's like, I just want to be on a team. Did you see the quote where he's like, I just want to be on a team that's like been constructed around me? And then fucking Embiid was like, every time we made a decision, it was for him. I didn't need anything. I'm the best center in the game. Who's gonna beat me? He's like, every time we made a personnel decision, Jimmy Butler, fucking what do you say? What's the dude? Al Horford. He's like, any of these guys that we bring into Philly, it's for him. It's not for me. It's like we traded Jimmy Butler away because Ben Simmons needed the ball in his hands more, and Butler is needs the ball in his hands as well. So it's like we can't have two of these guys. And then now you see where they're at. They're gonna have to get rid of Ben Simmons and hopefully maybe finally build around Embiid like they should have. You know, it should be an inside out team anyway. I mean, we as a Pacers fan, I know a lot about inside out teams. I mean, all you got to do is think about Rick Smits. You got to think about all the centers that we've had: Jermaine O'Neal, the one recently. Starts with an H, right? Herbert.
Yeah. Oh no, it was.
Hibbert.
Oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name either? Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, that's it. I always mix. I used to think Hibbett Sports and Malls was Hibbert Sports. I was like,
Hibbert.
man, he has his own. I don't know what's wrong.
But he's an MMA guy now, I guess.
I would love to see somebody fight a 6 foot or 7 foot tall guy in MMA. Who would he fight? It's me. I mean, he just stuffs people. I mean, the Carmelo Anthony block in the playoffs was one of my favorite all time. Al Horford, Roy Hibbert. Yeah, that whole team was like my. And then he had a joke. He posted, he's like, if you guys saw my face and I was looking mad during the game, he's like, I put Bengay on my legs and it got on my nuts. And he said that throughout the whole game. I saw him post that on Twitter one day, and I followed him on Twitter, and I have never stopped just because he is so fucking funny. I was like,
but it's good to talk about the good things of the Pacers, but the bad things, man. Here's my top 2 bad things ever happened to the Pacers. Number 1, of course, is Malice at the Palace.
That's you have to say that one. I figured that was.
We
already...
even talked about it when it came out.
It's a big.
If you haven't watched it, watch it.
That documentary was fantastic. It's a heartbreaker. Makes you see Meta World Peace, Ron Artest, in a whole new light because you realize that he was really just a simple guy that had a really rough time and just could not find his way. Yeah. You feel really bad for J.O. because J.O. got treated like a thug and he was like one of the hardest working players in the NBA. But what's your second one? I don't want to lose that.
No, that's fine. But I agree, especially like one, for all the things Ron Artest has done in the NBA.
Yeah. Negative
and positive. You have to understand that Ron Artest has a mental disorder.
Yeah.
And
he's got depression, bipolar, right?
Yeah,
depression, bipolar. I mean, and a lot of people like to when you're a man, and not only that, you're a man in sports. Going back to the being gay in football thing is like you're expected to be a certain way in sports because you're surrounded by men. It's a men buff, manly culture, and it's just like you. And then when you think about sports in particular, how often basketball players play, they might play back to backs multiple times per year. It's like, man up, man. If you're hurt, try to play through if you can. Take that shot, cortisol shot or whatever it's called, the steroid shot, and get back out there. And so when it comes to like your mental shit, nobody takes it seriously because they're like, man, your body goes through enough.
Strong.
Yeah, because your body's strong. Just because you have a super strong body doesn't mean your mind was built in the same place. And a lot of these guys, like Ron Artest in particular, came from a place where maybe he didn't have the greatest upbringing, and had a rough childhood, and then he just happens to have these physical gifts. That's all it was. He's a very physically gifted, but mentally he just wasn't. He wasn't. What's the word? He wasn't taken care of mentally like he was physically. Like, oh, you're a physical specimen, but nobody cared about his mental fortitude.
Exactly.
It sucks, man. I felt bad for watching that. Bum me. I posted a bunch. I went on like a Facebook post like afterwards because I can't. I do that sometimes when I watch things. I'm like, I gotta post about 50 things.
It made me kind of sad because the NBA changed there for a minute after that. With that and Allen Iverson and the way Allen Iverson was on the court, people stopped watching basketball.
Yeah.
And LeBron James brought everybody back, but basketball was losing for a while because of that. And it was just like, man, it was so misunderstood.
Yeah.
What the news reported, like many things, is not actually what happened.
Yeah.
But number 2 on the list is the fact that we drafted Kawhi Leonard and didn't keep him.
Well, I always think about that all the time too, because I think about how LA, the Clippers were able to get George and Kawhi, and they could have been on the same team in the first place, and that always bothered me. I think more important than that one though was them passing up on Anunoby, because I think Anunoby would have been. TJ Leaf for Anunoby. How the fuck do you make that mistake? He's an IU guy, and on top of that, he was a stud athlete, like a complete athletic athlete. Pacers have a long storied history of taking really terrible white guys over everybody else. And it's like, the funny thing is when we talk about the link between Boston and Indiana sports, is one thing they have in common is their affinity for a white savior in sports, especially basketball in general, because they always like the whole Brian Scalabrine joke about him being white chocolate and stuff, or what, you know what I mean, white Kobe or white Mamba.
White Mamba, yeah, but the real white chocolate is Jason Williams, one of my favorite basketball players
of all
time.
Watching clips of him on YouTube always makes me smile. Watching his little elbow pass behind the back. Yeah, man. I could talk about basketball all day. That's one of my biggest problems. But yeah, at Gabe's, what you're talking about, I wanted to bring that up. The 2 jerseys I found was a Zion Williamson Pelicans jersey, which Zion Williams is awesome. I love Zion. And then the other one was the Allen Iverson one. That was the Georgetown Allen Iverson.
See, I got one of those old Reebok Iverson jerseys.
Yeah, that's baller. Yeah, I found. I have a couple of screen print ones. I like older ones. Like I have a Sprewell and I have a Sean Kemp. Those are pretty cool. But I was basically from being on that side of the coast. I think I'm getting ready to sell my Sprewell one, which kind of bums me out. But I've never fit into it the entire time I've owned it because I'm not a baby man, and it's like a tiny little Champions jersey. But I'm like, man, it's hard for me to get rid of that one because it's Sprewell, and I'm like,
especially it being a Champion jersey. There's a huge resale on Champion stuff right
now. Yeah. I think we're gonna end up making way more on that than what I paid for it initially. And I mean, and I think honestly, it's the person that's getting it. Hopefully, if they can wear it, I hope so, because it hasn't been worn since I bought it. And you're talking 2010, 2011 is when I bought it, maybe earlier. I'm like, it's been around 2009, 2010, 2011. I bought that, and it has never been worn. So I'm like, Sprewell, and it's Golden State Sprewell too. So it's not Knicks. Like I'm gonna choke Jeff Van Gundy Sprewell, even though that's my favorite Sprewell.
It's funny because I was sitting here like in my head like, we're gonna make a choke joke.
Yeah.
Any minute now.
It's just
the final
choking
countdown.
in 3, 2, 1, choke. Yeah. Just me on. That's why I stopped doing comedy, because that's me on stage. I'm just kidding. No, I honestly, when I did stand up, my favorite thing to do was just go up there and just not have an agenda. When I would go up there, maybe a couple drinks in, and I just didn't care about what I was going to say, I had more fun because then I could just like talk to the crowd and goof and try to like do things.
See, personally, that to me, like, when I started, I was like, I had notes with me and stuff all the time.
Same.
Recently, no.
I
have my set. My 10 minutes is in my head.
Boom.
I don't do it. And if you're at a paid comedy show reading jokes off your phone, maybe it's time to try something else.
Yeah. Is there people doing that?
Oh yeah.
You see it a lot?
Occasionally, yeah.
Dude, I can maybe like, on the stool. I'm okay with it being on the stool.
Yeah, if it's on the stool, and even when I had it on the stool, I make up. Fall Out Boy?
Yeah.
I make up, like, Fall Out Boy-esque names for my jokes.
Like long song titles?
And then I had a, index card with, like, my set list, basically, on the thing. So I would see, like, okay, this joke, what comes after this joke? Oh, that's what comes after it. So nonchalantly, I can just look away.
Yeah, when we did that, shout out to Jerry Goebel, but we did his little comedy workshop thing, and that's one of the things that he tried to get us to do. I know my joke was one of the biggest contentious points of that, because he did not like the way it hit, and everybody in there was like defending my joke for me, and I was like, that joke I thought was solid. That was the one I wasn't worried about. But he had Jerry. The good thing about Jerry is he's been doing it for so long that he's developed a way to do things that if you can acquiesce to that, you're probably going to be successful. But that was like one joke I couldn't get behind him doing. So
the way he does it. But the thing that I've learned since then is I love Jerry, and he's a great comic, but the way he does jokes might not necessarily be the way that works best for me, and that's the same with every comic, you know?
Yeah.
I got a lot of knowledge from doing that seminar with him, and it was great, and I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate you, Jerry, but...
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own style, and that's what it is, and maybe Bob from Tacoma likes my stuff and doesn't like Jerry's, but maybe Sandy from Pittsburgh loves Jerry and thinks I'm a piece of shit. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
So I just think like whatever it works for you, do it.
I guess I'm sorry I wasn't trying to be rude, but Tom Brady just broke Drew Brees' NFL record for career passing yards with 28 strike to Mike Evans in the first quarter versus Pats. So he's playing the Pats right now, and he just broke Drew Brees' record. Not that like Drew Brees didn't break Peyton Manning's record, who broke Marino's record. I think Peyton Manning breaking Marino's record was a bigger deal than any of these other ones because it's all been like people that played against each other.
Yeah, it's like right now with like the points race in basketball, the 3-pointers. It's like, oh, no kidding, Steph Curry's gonna be the leading 3-point.
They don't let you play defense on the perimeter. Of course, you're gonna be the best. I mean, the impressive part was how great Reggie Miller and Ray Allen were because they were able to do that through that contact and everything. But like somebody like James Harden, somebody like Steph Curry, somebody like Klay Thompson, you know, and Steph Curry's going to be the all-time leader in threes if he isn't going to. I mean, maybe by the end of the year.
He's 200 away.
By the end of the year, he might have it. That's not even that much of an exaggeration. They make it into the playoffs. He has every opportunity. The dude hoists up probably, I would say 15 threes a night. I mean, and maybe I'm crazy, but I'm like, and he makes like 2/3 of them. So like, isn't he like? No, he makes like a third. Like, is he career 40% or 30?
No, his average is very low. I was playing the new 2K with my buddy the other day, and after we played, we were looking at all that stuff because you know, as sports fans, sometimes you're just like, you know, I got nothing else to do. Why not look at this stuff?
Yeah.
Because you remember like the greats, and it's just a nostalgia thing, and us millennials love nostalgia.
That's all we care about. It's like that's the reason why we love Marvel and all this stuff. It's all stuff from when we were kids. Yeah, and we grew up. I mean, I know for me personally, when it comes to, I love watching Steph Curry play. Do I love what he's doing, what he's done to the game, and what he's done to, like, when I would go and play, like, pick up ball, and every kid just, up three! Everything's a three, up, pulling up for three! And it's like, they used to play a game where you'd run down, shoot, and the two would shoot a three. It was like knockout, but for running the court and shooting threes. And in my head, the entire time, I was like, none of these kids know how to shoot off the backboard, how to do a layup. Not a single one of these kids could probably even play defense. But hell, if you watch them shoot 53s the game, and they make 3 of them, they're like, I made those 3. And I'm like, I guess you did.
You did score 9 points this game. Good job.
Threes to me it was always one of my favorite parts of the game growing up because like Reggie Miller here, and then Ray Allen was my favorite player, and watching Ray Allen come off of or even Reggie come off of a screen and shoot a 3 was like art. Watching Steph Curry dribble slowly down the court and then pull up from the logo, you're like, that's not as much art as it is. This guy is just a freak of nature.
Yeah, but he puts a lot of work into that.
I believe it.
He puts a lot of work into it.
I mean, those legs aren't very strong. He's got some bad ankles. So,
but my favorite thing growing up, my favorite player was Shaq. I'm a Shaq guy.
I love Shaq. Yeah.
I mean, he's funny, he's talented at more things than basketball, but down in the paint, there's nobody in the world that can stop Shaquille O'Neal. No.
Just Shaq-a-Roni, Mr. Shaq-a-Roni himself. Every time I think of Shaq now,
Shaq-Stradamus.
Every time I think of him now, I think of that terrible Papa John's commercial where he's like, buy a Shaq-a-Roni, get some stuff. And I'm like, they're trying to do so much publicity because of the racist shit that fucking the Papa John, the original guy.
No, but Shaq actually owns like 18 or 19 Papa John's franchises.
Well, I mean, Peyton Manning owned a shit ton of them too. It's like it's a good way to make money. Papa John's to me is kind of, the pizzas went downhill, like flavor-wise.
I'm not really a big fan of Papa John's myself.
What's your favorite pizza in town?
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying non-chain, so like obviously like that takes out Domino's, Pizza Hut.
Non-chain?
Yeah.
You're probably gonna get mad at me for this, but I like Pizza Junkies.
Hey, no, that's fine. No, I'm completely cool with pizza. They have some really good pizza. Their breadsticks to me are really legit, and my girl loves their breadsticks. And their pizza's not bad either. If you like a Chicago like a deeper dish pizza, they have a really good pizza. And actually, their thin pizza, they have good Stromboli's. Like I would not.
I usually get a Stromboli.
Strombolis are lit. What do you get on yours? Do you get it as it is, or do you add?
I like to get sausage, pepperoni, and mushrooms and onions.
Yeah. I do sausage, pepperoni, like diced pepperoni, and then I'll do green pepper on it. I like green pepper, and then I'll get no onion, but then I'll add extra cheese. I like extra cheese on that.
There you go.
I used to eat those at work all the time, but you know, stopped working during the day now, and I work.
Is this
second
Anna
shift.
Kendrick? I'm sorry for
Absolutely.
interrupting.
No, you're good. No. She actually fell down and moved her a little bit. We'll bring her back up. She normally is up here a little higher, but she's been slowly falling down. But yeah, well, originally it was. Well, I always joke around because she has got the girl on there has like red hair, the wig, and my girl had that similar color. So I'd always say this is hotter Shelby, like messing around with her, and she or other Shelby. And then we went through and watched all the Twilights because I enjoy watching them. They're funny to me. They remind me of like girls when I was in like high school. You know, it's all it makes and to me they're hilarious to watch and just make fun of.
What year did you graduate, by the way?
2006.
Ooh, I'm older than you.
You are?
2003.
2003. Yeah. Where'd you go?
I graduated high school in DeSoto, Missouri at DeSoto High School.
You didn't go here? You didn't go?
I never went to, actually, no. I'll take that back. We moved a lot. My parents were always like chasing like the better thing.
Yeah.
So I actually in high school, I went to 9 different high schools.
Shit. 9 in 4 years.
Yeah. But
bro. I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, bro, that's rough.
And I still played sports and did things, you know.
Yeah, you did.
I'm good at making new friends. I think that's where comedy started for me because I was always the new kid. And it was
had to.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna make fun of my being fat before you do.
Yeah, do or die. you gotta learn how to take a joke and learn how to self-deprecate in order to meet new people.
Exactly. Well, because not only that, but you could be the new kid eating lunch in the bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to be me.
Yeah.
So
but
I was always
with her, that's what that was. We watched all those. I told my girl I thought she was hot. I was like, I know she's supposed to be a high schooler in this, but I think Anna Kendrick was so hot. So my girl, she's hilarious. She never is gonna get the credit for how funny she is because she hates being on camera. She won't even do a podcast with me. But she literally went online, found that, bought it, and then came in here and was like, "Am I hot enough for you yet?" Like joking around, and I put it on there as a joke. So where all were your high school? Well, do you know the name of all 9? Can you say all 9?
Yeah, I can say all the high schools.
From the beginning, I want to know from freshman year.
So my first week of freshman year, I went to Lewis Cass, only Indiana school.
Okay, so
that's
that's up there. That's in like what? What's that called? Galveston, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so where's the next one?
Then we moved to Missouri, and I went to a high school in Festus, Missouri called Festus High School.
There you go.
I went there for the rest of 9th grade year. And then in 10th grade, I moved back to live with my dad, and I started going to Kokomo High School in Kokomo, Florida.
So that's close to Kokomo, but not.
Close.
You're a mo away. Kokomo High School, we're just a mo away. Yeah,
Kokomo Beach. Yeah, and then I went to a high school that is... 2 people that I admire went to this high school. It's called Astronaut High School in Titusville, Florida. Alma mater of Daniel Tosh and Chris Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth, who's the football player?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's an analyst now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 4, right? We're at 4.
That's 4.
And that's still sophomore year.
Yeah.
Okay, what about, are we still in sophomore?
Now we're going to the end of sophomore year. I went to Hollywood Hills High School in Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah.
And then I moved up to, that's 5. Then I moved to, then I moved back up to my dad's house, and I started going to Astronaut again. So we can count it as 6, we can count it as 5.
Yeah, but it's like split up. Okay.
Yeah. And then I moved with my mom, and I started going to DeSoto High School. And that's where I graduated. So maybe it's only 6. That's 6, right?
Yeah, 6.
So it's 6.
6. Dude, that's still way. I went to one high school. I mean, there's a lot around here, but I only went to Kokomo. I've spent the entire time there. That's so crazy to me how many.
But I was a broken home kid.
Yeah.
I like sometimes on stage, not really in shows, but at open mics, I make a joke. My parents were born when I was born. I was 1985. My dad was 16 and my mom was 18, which is not really the norm.
No, not at all.
They got married, and then they split up when I was 2.
Yeah.
And they're actually together now. They got back together when I was 22. Obviously, I was the problem.
That's sad. I've heard that joke. Yeah, I've heard you do that one. That's funny, too. Obviously, it was me. I was the issue here, because now they broke up while I was growing up, and then they got together when I moved out. Well, sometimes, you realize that the toxic one was you, and you go back to your ex, and I guess they realize it a lot later. That's fun. And I mean, they seem to both have the same affinity of moving every time.
You know what? They've lived in Logansport now since the year after I graduated high school.
Jeez.
But it's just like they moved there for my grandpa, who's since passed on. But I think they were like, what they were really missing was each other.
Yeah. That makes sense. Like, maybe they were searching for each other the whole time, and then it was just like one big elaborate love story. Like, I could see Anna Kendrick playing the woman, and maybe I could play the man. Hey, Anna, I'm just kidding. No, I'll play your dad. You can play your mom. We'll get a whole figure thing until we have you, and then we're like, get out! We're breaking up. We had Sean. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you were from Oklahoma, but mine was shattered. I never even really was around my dad. Yours was broken. Mine shattered. No, that's. I mean, I think it's great anytime I meet somebody that they haven't had like any relationship with their father at all, because like I literally had zero. My mom would see him out at the bar randomly. So my mom's. Let me go back a little bit. My mom's story, beautiful story of how her and my dad made me, is. I went to a bar and I said, if Larry's there, I'm gonna fuck him tonight. And then she fucked him that night, and then now here I am. So my mom.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. My mom being a little hussy. But yeah, that's the story of my conception, and then you fast forward, and like my mom, anytime she'd see him, it'd be like randomly outside. I have a sister who is exactly 1 year older than me to the day, which tells me that my dad likes to fuck on the same day every year. So if there's a hooker out there that's like, I got an appointment from Larry today, because he likes to fuck every day 9 months before December 14th. Because I have a sister, we have the exact same birthday.
That's crazy, and that had to suck as a child.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't grow up together. So
okay.
It's actually pretty funny now, because to us, we both think it's hilarious. Happy birthday, sis. Happy birthday, bub. And it's like, we've never had a joint birthday party, but we should really throw one together, because it might be pretty lit. But I'm a lot closer to my sisters. I grew up with all brothers and a stepsister. And even I'm a stepbrother and stuff. And I had another stepsister, but like I didn't meet her till later on in life. But like I never had any biological sisters growing up. I did, but I didn't grow up with them. And then I grew up, and then I have like 2 older sisters. And it's crazy, because I was always like, I was the middle child, but my older brother lived with my grandma, so I was the oldest middle child. But I had my foot in so many different worlds. That when people were like, "Were you a middle child? Were you the oldest child?" I'm like, "Yes." Were you the youngest? No, that's the only thing I can say. Is I wasn't the youngest.
See, I actually, my parents both went off and had other marriages, so I'm actually, if you count my siblings for my dad and my mom, I'm the oldest of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy that like. You're the only one that they both love. I'm just kidding. No,
now that they're back together, I say that all the time at family gatherings. I'm like, the prodigal son's here.
Yeah. Your baby has returned. I'm here. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. You're like, I'm the only one they made with love. I'm the only one they made together with love. Every one of you. Are they all younger or older?
They're all younger than me.
You're the oldest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. I was the first one. They were 16 and 18.
Oh, that's true. I was like, your dad was popping loads of 15 too. Who knows? You know, that dude he started early, and it's funny that a 15. And they're from Logan.
No, my parents actually both went to Carroll High School.
Carroll, that's the west.
Yeah, it's like Flora, Indiana.
Yeah, Carroll. Yeah, Carroll County is what I was thinking. Is that near Burlington? Or is it
yeah, Burlington's in Carroll County.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm so I moved out of out of Indiana, and when I went in the military and learned all these other places, and I come back and I'm like,
what's in Indiana?
Yeah, I'm like, well, because then you get to Indiana and I'm like, yeah, I've been. It's like I was in the Navy, but I've already been to Peru. I've already been to Galveston. I've already been to Miami, Indiana. Like, there's so many versions of every other place
everywhere,
here. Yeah, and then I go down to Kokomo.
Which
get there
just
faster.
means Indiana was lazy at naming things,
or everything's named after Indians. Because the Miami tribe, the Kokomo, the Peru tribe, like it's all these, and so everything's an amalgam of. It's almost like there's only 26 letters or whatever. 27. Is it 26? 27? 26. I don't even know half the time. You only have so many that you can throw together, and there are these vowels and these consonants, and so we have to throw. It's kind of how this podcast normally has Jordan and Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan and Jordan. I love it.
It's
when
always
I'm telling
funny.
people, when I'm talking about you guys to somebody, always good things.
Yeah,
but when I'm talking to you guys to somebody, I'm like, yeah, Jordan, and they're like, oh, which one? And I'm like, I usually say, no offense, but I'm like, Black Jordan or White Jordan.
We always joke about that, but we never say it on the podcast because we're like, I always be like, I'm Black Jordan, and he's like, I want to do an opening where like, hello, Kokomo Press Podcast, I'm Black Jordan, I'm White Jordan, and then we just go on and we don't even acknowledge it. But we do try to, like, he always says, I'm Jordan with the nails, or we always try to come up with, well, there's my drink. It's already gone anyway. But yeah, it's funny, man, because, like, it's not, I grew up and there was only a couple Jordans around me, and now that I'm an adult, I feel like, oh my God, there's so many fucking Jordans. Like, my girl's brother named Jordan, I have a friend who I play kickball with. Her husband or boyfriend is named Jordan, and then I do the podcast with a Jordan, and it's like everywhere. I was at I play Pokemon trading card game. Like I've been playing since I was a kid, and I got back into it with my son, taking him to AA Cards and Collectibles over here by Rural King in the plaza there. Which check it out if you haven't been there. They're great guys. Austin Arenzo, he's a good guy.
Do you see I get him mixed up, Logan or Jake Paul, where he bought the one. The Charizard.
Yeah, it's right there. You see, that's not a first edition, but it's a Charizard. It's a base set Charizard. I never got the first edition. But anyway, I went up there and played, and there was two or three Jordans there. I'm like, Jesus Christ! It's like everywhere I go, I was like, I might need to start going by my middle name, but Danger is not really. That's what it says on Facebook, though. If it's Facebook, it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Facebook is real life. A lot of people think that, though.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, they live their lives on social media. It's like did you ever watch the Bo Burnham Special that came out?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, good, right?
Yeah, it was
good
so
shit.
good. It was so good.
It was perfectly for us.
His
our
first,
age.
yes. His first special, I loved it. I became such a big his first special ever.
It's called what?
Yeah, but I loved it. And then I didn't really love his next two.
I love that one.
Yeah, they're okay. They're just not my cup of tea.
Is it what the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, and the second one is Make Happy or?
Yes.
Dude, I think that one's funny. Did you don't like the Kanye joke? The Kanye one's one.
No,
the country song.
I'm not a Kanye guy. Like you'll never catch me dead in Yeezys. But
really? I wouldn't wear Yeezys, but I don't want to spend that kind of money. But I love Kanye. Jordan. One thing about this podcast that you'll probably notice if you watch it,
I'm actually
Jordan and I will not stop talking about Kanye because the new Donda was coming out. We're both obsessed with like Tyler, Creator.
I like Tyler as well, and I do like the new Kanye stuff that I've heard.
Very
but
religious,
it's just like he just went. He went white girl for like a long time.
I love him, dude. Honestly, I don't think he's ever done anything wrong. I will defend him until the end of time because to me, it's same. Okay, let's circle back to run our test. He's bipolar. Yeah. He has issues mentally, and I think that's might be part of what makes him so special and such an enigma. And he's so good. He's like a different type of artist. A lot of artists create. But he creates through collaborations. He'll bring a random person, put them on a track, and the track would have sounded so different without them. And it's like he creates these masterpieces by using all the tools that are available. Other old songs, old samples. Like he really made sampling big after. I mean, hip hop was created through like beat samples and random things. But he created like almost like the idea of using a sample as the hook and like speeding it up, slowing it down, and he just created so many. And then as a singer, and you're a singer as well, the way he manipulates the human voice to create different things, like different sounds. Like there's some songs that they're completely the vocoder, different vocalizing techniques that I'm just like, this guy is the GOAT. I honestly believe that he's the most important musician of our generation.
That very well might be true. I don't know. Just me personally, I like the early stuff. I like the new stuff, but the stuff in the middle.
Did you when you say early stuff? When did you stop listening? Like, do you remember?
After 808 and Heartbreak.
Do you like 808 and Heartbreaks though? Well, 808s and Heartbreaks is the one that I always cite. That's one of the most important albums of all time because it was panned when it came out. Like there wasn't really big, but the people that liked it were people like Lil Uzi Vert, like Lil Yachty, like Kid Cudi, who he was on it. But like it's like these guys all. Were part of this crazy thing that like it helped shape hip hop to what it is now, for better or for worse. But I like so much new hip hop. I'm so weird. I love Kodak Black. I think Kodak. He's so stupid, but I love it so much.
See, sometimes I want to be like my kids. I have two 17-year-olds, two 14-year-olds, a 10 and an 8, and so they're big into the new music. And sometimes I'll hear these songs and I just want to be like my dad so bad. I'm like this Walk It Like I Talk It. I could say Walk It Like I Talk It for 3 minutes. Give me some money.
So you don't like Migos? You're not a big fan of Migos?
No.
That's what it is, right?
Migos? I think it's Migos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's all the song is.
Yeah, but it's not. You got to remember that with that type of music, it's not about variation. It's about that specific hit. It's about the hit, and it's almost like you have to remember these kids nowadays. The way they digest like art in general, like any type of art, is through like snippets on like TikTok. So they got 90 or 60 seconds, maybe less than that, and they take these. They learn. So like think about the idea of the first. Oh, walk it like that, talk it. Hey, walk it like that. That's
and it
great
for a
in
good
20
TikTok
seconds.
dance, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I get your point. I guess I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's just to me, I was like, what is this? I like lyrical rappers, And
I think that's
my
a problem.
daughter told me the other day, she was like, Tupac is trash, so I made her listen to Brenda's Got a Baby 10 times.
Oh God, Brenda's Got a Baby is a great song, but if I want to get a young person to listen to Tupac, Brenda's Got a Baby, you know what song I would give them? Shorty Wanna Be a Thug, which is very similar, but that beat, there's no way to deny that beat, there's no way to deny that flow, and there's literally no way to deny the lyricalness of it. So to me, it's such the entire thing there, and the it's so different than everything else. And then like the thing about Tupac that a lot of young kids are never going to understand is how important he was to us poetically. He's the reason a lot of people liked hip hop because of the poetry of it and how interesting it was and how he was multifaceted. He could do a song about how Brenda had a baby and how sad it was, a song about how much he loved his mom, and then 2 seconds later be like, and that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. And you're like, yes.
He was a poet. He was a wonderful actor, poet, great lyricist. He was the it before, like, that's the new thing. It's like, you got to be doing all the things.
Yeah.
He did that before anybody else. And that's why I'm like, you got to pay homage. Just the fact that if you like pop punk like we do, you kind of got to pay homage to the Beatles.
Yeah. You have to, anything that has any type of structure like that, because pop punk is very much like Beatles. Like when you think of old, like even I Want to Hold Your Hand is a pop punk song. Like whether or not you want to think about it like that, but if you were to put the right guitars, like the right distortion on those guitars, that's a pop punk song all day. Yeah. And I mean, the Green Day got a lot from that. And I mean, when you think about Green Day and you think about Blink, think about even like Fall Out Boy or like Panic at the Disco. Any of those, they're also like Panic at the Disco became so much like the Beatles that their second album was basically a Beatles rip-off album. Like it was great because I liked a lot of the songs on there, but it felt like them basically saying, oh, "We want to do like a song like the Beatles. We're gonna go and we're gonna do Liverpool.
We're gonna wear the same freaking outfits.
Yeah, we're all gonna do it. What is it? They did the 9 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and they
which
did
is basically a Beatles video and
a
song.
It was but I really enjoy when that album comes on. Like when I'm randomly listening to stuff and it comes on, I enjoy those songs a lot more than like what's the piano knows something I don't know, or there's a song like the piano. They've got some really good ones on that album.
Oh yeah, there's great songs on that album. But also, I wanted to, since you brought up Panic at the Disco, I wanted to say, you say Kanye, I say the voice of our generation is Brandon Urie.
Oh, he's great.
He's fantastic.
Yeah,
have you seen some of the clips of him covering like Queen? Or...
Oh yeah, he's amazing. He's
amazing.
His vocal. The funny thing is how far he's came, because if you remember when they first came out, one of the hardest things for Panic at the Disco to deal with was the fact that his voice was not able to. He would lose it quick. He didn't know how to properly sing. He had this beautiful talent, but he didn't know how to use his diaphragm. Didn't know how to sing with his head voice and not so much throat. And then he learned how to do it, and he became one of the most prolific singers. I mean, anytime he puts out a song, it's amazing. I love it. I mean, I know people are going to have their opinions on Panic at the Disco or even pop punk or whatever, or even the direction he's in now. I mean, he is Panic at the Disco now. He's the only guy. But I know with that last album that he did, the entire album was written from front to back by him, and I'm pretty sure he played almost every instrument on the album. Yeah. He just did it by himself. He's a savant, and he didn't start off that. That's one of the things that I think people don't realize. He's not even a savant. Let me rephrase that. He has taught himself to become so multifaceted at music that he's just able to do everything. Because at one point he was not the best writer in his band. The guitar player was.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his name right now. Ryan something. But he was a good guitar. He was the good. And that second album, Ryan sang a lot, and I think that's why they ended up breaking up. Is he wanted to be the front man. You can't have somebody who sings as well as Brandon Urie and be the singer. You're not gonna be the singer. He's the singer. And I don't know what the fuck you're doing back here, Ryan. But it's like it's interesting because, like you said, he's one of the greatest singers. He vocally, he's probably one of the greatest. And I mean, when I remember listening to him do, I think the band together did a version of Karma Police by Radiohead, and I loved Radiohead before I listened to them, and then I heard that and I was like, God, they killed that song of all the songs, Karma Police, and then he did Bohemian Rhapsody, and he does that really great because there's not very many people that can sing that song right away. Me and Maddie do it together, and it's hard for us to do it together, but we've done like karaoke of doing it together. And Maddie's a great singer, and we sing that together, and it's still hard for us to do. And I mean, we're not the greatest in the world or anything, but the guy's chops, we know they're real. They're legit.
They're amazing.
They're legit.
My favorite one was he did Aerosmith.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My God.
Dream On.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such
and
a cool
he
song.
nailed it. And I was like, from listening to the early, like, you know, that was my heyday. You know.
Yeah.
Most people, the music that came out when they were a junior, senior, and the year out of high school, that's the music they're going to listen to for the rest.
That's a very strong thing that you're saying. That's really true.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't listen to new stuff. They listen to stuff they listen to high school, maybe a little bit before, maybe a little after, but not. They don't listen to stuff they don't find new music when they're 30 unless it's the same artists.
And that brings me to my next thing that we kind of share as a people, that most of the world doesn't really know or respect them enough.
Yeah.
But I bought an album one time, and it came with a free CD. It was a free DVD, and it had 3 videos on it. It was all Victory Records.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I discovered Bayside.
Oh, I love Bayside.
Bayside's my favorite
Bayside's
band. I have a Bayside flag in my room.
Yeah.
I love Bayside. My siblings, we all love Bayside.
Yeah.
Bayside is everybody that's ever felt like they don't belong in a situation. Bayside's for you.
And Anthony Ranieri is he's such a great songwriter, and then on top of like his vocal is so, you know, if you've listened to Bayside, if you haven't listened to him before, check him out. But like Bayside, if you listen to him, one of the weirdest things about it is the way Anthony Ranieri inflects he has a very, very strong consonants and vowels, and you're listening to it and you're like, how is he able to do this? And what you find out is very similarly to the lead singer of Queen, fucking Freddie Mercury. He has a lot of issues with his dentally. He's got his teeth are like jacked up, and I'm not meaning that as like I'm not like judging him as a person, but I think the fact that his teeth are so wildly messed up actually gave him a very specific type of sound, where when you listen to him, he has such a strong voice that if he would have, you know, been a pop star and fixed his teeth, you probably wouldn't remember him. You know what I mean? It's like people nowadays forget how important being an individual is compared to being, you know, one of the people. Because I mean, there's the TikTok trend now where these young TikTok stars will get, you know, 100,000 or 1 million followers on TikTok, and then they go get new teeth, and now they have these perfect fake veneer teeth, and it's like yeah, that's cool and stuff. It looks great on you right now. Your teeth are going to be terrible when you're older because those veneers don't hold up, apparently, according to the dentist that I've looked up. They've like, don't do that. It's bad for you when you're young. But do it when you're older, maybe. But I looked it up, and it's just, to me, it's like you wouldn't have a Freddie Mercury, you wouldn't have an Anthony Ranieri. Bayside, how old were you when you got into Bayside?
I was 18, 19.
Yeah, so like
2003, 2004.
Yeah. You got into it before I did. I was in a band with a guy who loved Bayside so much that he got a tattoo on his arm.
Yeah, the bird tattoo.
Yeah. He got the tattoo.
A tattoo I want in my life.
Yeah. He got the blackbird or whatever the hell it is. But he got that tattoo on him, and he loved Bayside and was like, we should do a Bayside song. And the songs that I heard by Bayside, I was like, nah, I wasn't a huge fan. I was like, it's alright, but it's not for me. And then I started talking to this girl and was hanging out with this girl, and we would hang out at her pool and stuff all the time and have a good time. And I was listening. We're hanging out and we're all goofing off at the pool, and there's a song playing in the background, and I'm like, what the hell is this song? I've heard it a few times as we've listened to music. It's randomly come on. I asked her, I said, what's that song? And she goes, oh, it's a Bayside song. I was like, well, turn it up. I want to listen to it. And it was Don't Call Me Peanut by Bayside.
That's off their self-titled album.
The first album, yeah. And it's the first one, right? The first.
It's actually the
studio?
second one. Yeah, first studio.
Yeah, and it's self-titled, and that song got me into Bayside, and the rest of the entire catalog is not anything like that song. Like, there's not a whole lot of acoustic songs other than the acoustic albums.
Yes.
But most of their stuff is
and when they came
driven.
out with Winter, when their original drummer died, it's a very popular acoustic song.
Yeah. But to me, it was like that was on that album was their debut, technically like commercial debut album, and it was the only song like that on there that was just an acoustic driven song. And I'm a slut for acoustic driven music.
Same.
Like, I'm a huge like whenever I hear a song with an acoustic guitar and it's picked perfectly, and you've got some really great strumming patterns that you're like, damn, and then it's about like getting your heart broken or like literally having a girl treat you wrong or a guy treat you wrong, and you're listening to it, and I'm like, same. And so that song was so meaningful.
It's funny to me because whenever I hear it, and whenever I think, like, I'm also a huge Elliott Smith fan.
Oh yeah,
I love Elliott Smith, but whenever I think about like that kind of music, and I'm like, God, I'm such a slut for
I know
acoustic music.
It's bad.
It's like I think of that episode of South Park where it's like, oh, you got a bunch of hippies in your basement, just throw weed and acoustic guitar down there.
And that'll keep them busy for the rest of their life.
That's me.
Yeah, one of my favorite artists ever in the whole world. I mean, it's not even Kanye as much as I think Kanye is the most important artist. My favorite artist of all time, for now on, for the rest of my life, will always be Frank Ocean. I don't know if you've ever listened to a lot of Frank Ocean. I think he's one of the most important writers, like gifted writers that's ever existed, and his melodies are beautiful, and he can rap, he can do everything. He writes his own music, produces it, composes it, doesn't have anybody help him, does it all by himself now. Like, and it's always good. And now he just came up with like a designer clothing line and stuff. He's an insane person. But I remember he actually got me an Elliott Smith later on, because he has a this is not my life, it's a fond farewell to a friend. And I was like, what the hell is that? I looked up the lyric to like, what's the rest of the song?
And then you discovered Elliott Smith and you were like, oh my God.
This is not my life, it's just a fond farewell.
If Titanic wouldn't have came out that year, he'd have won a Grammy.
Yeah. You think? Yeah.
He did almost the entire soundtrack of Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. That's a hell of a movie too. It's a really good. I mean, Robin Williams fucking like Harry Knuckles and all fucking killed that one, dude.
You know, that's my big plan for my life. You bring up Robin Williams. When our kids graduate, my big plan is we're gonna move to LA, and I'm gonna try to become a regular at the Comedy Store. Like that's my goal in life.
Yeah.
Robin Williams started, if you guys don't know, there's actually a special on Showtime called The Comedy Store.
I've seen it.
It's
really
great.
Really good shit.
5 episodes, great. Anything you need to know about comedy, and really what you'll learn is everybody who's anybody in comedy has come from the Comedy Store.
Yeah. Or worked the store. Some people worked it later. Like Bill Burr started like Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, all of those guys started somewhere else, came and got on the Comedy Store. Louis C.K. was never past at the Comedy Store, but you know, people like that. But yeah, it's a great documentary on Hulu is where I watched it on Hulu, but it's Showtime. Right?
Oh yeah, it's Showtime.
I watched it. I have I pay for Showtime through Hulu, so that's how I watched it.
Oh yeah, see,
so good.
I got Showtime, and you know, I just got Showtime like recently, but it's because the Dexter's coming back, and I'm so excited for that.
Is that have you seen Hysterical? Is that on? I know it's on Hulu, but no, it's on maybe it's on
Hysterical.
There's a new documentary about female comedians called Hysterical.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Yeah. I didn't even know about it until I saw Nikki Glaser on Theo Vaughn's podcast talking about it, like trying to be like, yeah, Theo, you should have watched it. I'm like, Theo's not gonna
You watch
that.
Theo's podcast too?
Sometimes, yeah, I watch a little bit of everybody. My favorite, the only real podcast that I've listened to, I mean, Joe Rogan is the biggest, and
he started podcasting, comedy podcasting.
He pretty much he created it. I mean, the guy that started it was he's always on the show, and Jordan's gonna kill me for not mentioning, but there's a guy that's always on the show that Jordan follows. He's the original podcaster. He did it before anybody else. And then Joe Rogan was the one that I think you can be the one who creates something, but you're not the one who popularizes it. Joe Rogan made podcasts popular for me. That's why I started listening to podcasts. But I listen to pretty much all those guys like Tom, Burr,
so
Theo.
you listen to Two Bears, One Cave?
Two Bears, One Cave is hilarious.
That's great. It's
funny. And I mean, I love it when I love Mark Norman when he's on there. I like different people. I like a lot of comedians. I listen to Mark Norman's one of my favorite. Have you seen the new special with Gillian Keys? What the fuck's his name? Shane Gillis?
Oh yeah.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
That special. I died.
It's great.
The start of it where he's like, imagine being the first founding father that had to that was like coming up with the age of consent, and he's like 12, and he's like, ooh, or 14. He's like, why did I have to do this one first? It's so funny. I was dying, and that whole special was so funny.
Yeah, and you know, like before I did comedy, I was a comedy nerd. That's what I did in my free time, was watch stand-up specials.
Absolutely.
Netflix has a whole bunch, but now every entertainment app has pretty much followed suit. And you can see anybody's stand-up everywhere.
Yeah, HBO Max has the one, I think it's called 8 by, you know what I'm talking about, what's the fuck's his name? Gerard Carmichael.
Gerard Carmichael.
That's so funny, and actually the guy who produced that Bo Burnham. He actually was the one that directed and produced that.
That's great.
He directed that entire special. He also directed Chris Rock's most recent special, Tambourine.
Yeah,
he directed that one as well. So Bo Burnham is, like I said, these guys are awesome.
Opinion though, the new Kevin Hart one that he did like during the pandemic in his home. Not a big fan.
I think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was terrible. I watched it. I didn't think it was terrible. Me and my girl watched it. I didn't think it was terrible, but I did think it was like you could tell he didn't practice it enough. It wasn't. It was. You could tell that he was like phoning it in. It felt like he was like, I want some money, or I'm bored.
Kevin Hart is comedy right now. He's just everywhere that there's comedy, it's Kevin Hart.
They keep telling me that
comedy TV network.
People keep telling me that, but Kevin Hart will never. I missed that hype train when he became popular. Like the memes and the jokes and that one where he's like doing the whole like, oh, you ain't got no nipples. That one was, I think, I don't remember what, Seriously Funny or something like that. That one was okay, but every time one came out, people were like, let's watch it, and I would just sit there like this. And it's not because it wasn't necessarily funny. It's just because I felt like most of it's physical comedy. It's Dane Cook, and it's like Dane Cook was more funny after he became Dane Cook when he was doing serious stuff, and he had some funny bits. But like,
I'm not a Dane Cook guy myself.
Yeah. Well, you said you were born in 85?
Yeah.
My brother's 84. I'm 87. Comic View. Did you grow up Comic View every night?
Yeah.
Every night I would watch Comic Blend, Comic View. And that's how I got into comedies. My older brother got me into it by like, he would put it on and I would just die. It's your host, Bruce! And
it was dangerous.
It was.
That's what it is. It was dangerous. People were saying the things that they don't say in normal life.
Yep.
That is the draw to
Absolutely.
comedy fans.
Yep.
The opinions that you have in your head that you don't say because you don't want to cause turmoil.
But the things you say when nobody's around and you're like with your significant other or you're with somebody you know and you're like, bitch got some big titties. I bet you they hit the floor. Like something stupid. Like you wouldn't say that maybe on a stage in front of people, but in your head you thought it and you thought it was hilarious, or you'd be like, or like let's say you're out at somewhere and you see somebody in a scooter and they drive by and you're like, I don't need that fucking scooter. Like small shit like that. Like me and my girl will be out and we'll start joking about like today. Okay, like this is an example from today, literally. She and I went and we had 2 free drinks from Starbucks today. Like we had the stars for it. Yeah. And she and I, we've been cutting back on Starbucks and spending money on bullshit just because like we need to quit it. We need to quit it. The COVID money's gone. It's dried up. We got to start spending our money like adults. And so we were looking at our stars and we're like, we got enough to get a couple of drinks. And we don't go anymore like we used to. We were going almost every day. So I was like, let's go get some Starbucks. So we drive up. I pre-order it on the app because I don't like wait. I go up there, I go to park, and as I'm pulling up, there's a guy getting out of like a gigantic Ram truck that's completely decked out like super country, but he's wearing like a suit and like a top hat, like a douchey top hat, and I was like, what is this guy doing? And me and her and I don't remember the exact joke, but she and I were both like roasting this guy getting out of his gigantic truck, like
what probably on his way to a shotgun wedding.
Yeah, something stupid like he lost a bet. You know what I mean? Something like that. And like simple things like that. That's what comedy is to me. Like when you're with somebody you trust and you know they're gonna do it with you, and you throw out some jokes and
they're not gonna judge you.
And nobody
go too far.
And you might go too far. My girl, all the time, both of us always go too far. And we're like, ugh, and we're both laughing. But at the end of the day, I think. What you said, the most important thing that I think was said in this entire podcast was comedy's dangerous again. Doing something, like posting something. I've been canceled. You've seen me.
Yeah,
I get canceled all the time.
I see the article on the wall.
I know you can't see it, but there's an article about controversial video raising concern, addiction, stigma in the community, and like literally my name's spelled wrong. It says Jourdain Granger.
Jourdain.
They're like, there's an I in his last name, so there must be.
Are you Muslim now?
I guess. I'm Jourdain Granger.
But in the spirit of the podcast, I did want to come with something that fit Kokomo Press, and I'm a big fan of you guys. I wanted to be, I would love to be more active in Kokomo Press. I miss doing stuff in the community.
I mean, I'm all for it, man. Hit me up with anything. I mean, even I know Courtney hit me up, who's a part of the page. Courtney hit me up and was telling me that you were trying to do like almost like a local late night thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to spoil anything.
I really want to do that, and honestly, after we're done with the podcast, I was going to talk to you about this.
Yeah, I'm down.
But I want to do. Well, I guess we might collaborate. Look out soon for.
Yeah, there might be something coming out here.
Weekly in Kokomo, which will be like the Saturday night, not the Saturday Night Live. I'm sorry. Will be like kind of like a mixture of Saturday Night Live and the Late Show.
I'm down. The only problem, we might have to do it monthly, and the only reason why is because there's a lot of production.
There's so much going on.
But I definitely want to do it. A weekly show is something I was trying to do for a while. I don't know if you saw my little pop-up video
and
type
that's
of thing.
kind of where I got the idea, and then I was like, I like what you're doing with the news
about
thing.
A subject, about a
Yes.
specific subject. Well, we did the news thing where we were like trying to pretend like we're the news. We were joking around.
Yeah, but that's Saturday Night Live skit.
It is. It's basically a weekend update, but like locally, and we wanted to do some jokes and stuff. And we were just trying to throw out one-liners, and we were just trying to find something to do during the pandemic. And then afterwards, I was doing what we called the Fresh Press segments on a particular topic where I would just rant on the topic, but I would always write them out. I wrote it out.
When I met you guys, first of all, when I got introduced into the whole Kokomo comedy scene, at first I was like, okay, I'm the only young guy.
Everybody's 20 years older than me. You can say it out loud. I'm here with you. I knew what you were thinking before you even said it. Everybody's 20 years older than I am. Yeah.
So then when Davey started coming, I was like, great. And shout out Davey Mumo. I love you. You're my
on the
homie.
Podcast, friend of the family, friend of the podcast.
AKA Diamond Dick Dave.
Yeah, Davey's great. He was on the podcast with us one time, with me, Brian, and Jordan. One of the ones we did 4 people. I can't stand doing 4 people. 3 people was my night. But yeah, Davey and then Brian would go, and I would go. It was nice. It was
so much nicer to me. Yeah, when it was younger people, I was like, oh, there's people my age. There's people that are gonna get my
your
comedy
jokes, yeah, or get like your premises even, because some of these guys, like, you would say a premise, and they're like, I don't know where he's coming from. What is a Netflix? I'm just kidding.
Netflix.
I'm being ridiculous.
But
what's a Netflix?
my joke that I wrote for tonight for the podcast is it's beginning to be fall. It's first couple days in October. Everybody's getting excited for Halloween. But I live in Kokomo, and there's enough heroin zombies, so I guess I'm not that thrilled.
Yeah, it's like everybody loves zombies, everybody's Walking Dead, but for me it just feels like a regular run trip at a Walmart. What am I gonna do? I go to Walmart and see all these heroin zombies walking around like the Walking Dead. Yeah, I'm there with you, dude. I'm completely on board with that. We do got to do something. We got to collab. We got to get some stuff together. We're always doing so much stuff, and my biggest thing is I stretch myself so thin because I have so many hobbies. My girl's like, you have too many hobbies. Like, I know, but I'm getting ready to shelve a lot of the things I do, so I'm gonna have more time. So we definitely got to do something. This has got
to be a career, man.
I know it's not.
That's what I want, is this to be my career.
Yeah. To me, if I could monetize this, if you motherfuckers would fucking share this shit and you would help people around your local community. Joe Rogan don't need you. Andrew Schultz don't need you. I love Andrew Schultz. I love Joe Rogan. I love Santino, Cheeto Santino. I love Theo Vaughn. We love Tom Segura. We love all these guys. But the truth of the matter is, you share their shit, they don't give a fuck at the end of the day. They're getting paid with the other shit they're doing. Me, Sean, Jordan, Brian, Courtney, people like that, we need it. Davey, we need you guys to support us and be there for us. And as much as I hate preaching, sometimes, I got to get on my pulpit and I got to start giving you guys the tongue lagging that you guys deserve, because you guys don't support people.
And not only that, guys, but think of if we didn't have to have day jobs and we could put all our time and effort into this.
Oh yeah.
How much better content we could give you.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, and on top of that, like, nothing feels better than understanding exactly where the person that you're listening to comes from. And we all live here. We're all from here. We all deal with the same things. We're all the same age as you. I mean, it's amazing the resources Joe we're gonna have. So we'll probably never ever have the resources of a guy like that. We'll never be able to upend our entire lives and move to Austin and start and be able to basically. I was gonna say start from scratch, but it's not the truth. He was basically able to just go, let me move this entire world here, and I love it. I love what he does. I love the guests he has on there. But like I said, at the end of the day, he's not going to talk about things that you see every day. He's not going to talk about the shooting at Foster Park. He's not going to talk about the fact that the new Gabe's opened up. He's not going to talk about Popeyes opening up today. Popeyes, yes. This is coming out Monday. We're shooting this on Sunday. But today, Popeyes is opening up. You're probably in line right now. You could be listening to us talk about it. And you can learn about Sean. I don't know if you've met Sean. You guys seen some of the skits we do. Maybe you've seen him do some comedy in town. Maybe you'll go on Sean D. It's Funny on YouTube and you'll check out his video.
And if the line's too long at Popeyes tomorrow, come over to Burger King on Markland where I'm assistant manager.
I don't know if those chicken fries are gonna hold up compared to what I can get with that chicken sandwich.
Hey, you get a Chick King, it's almost the same thing.
Okay, we're gonna let him get away with that. But anyway, I'm Jordan Granger. We've had a great time here with Sean. This is the Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm Jordan Granger.
I'm Sean Delrymple.
We'll see you soon. To kisses.
us for the last, hour or so. Really appreciate that. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. You can find this guy on a lot of different shit. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, some Instagram shit, whatever. Also, buy our merch. Can I grab you consensually? Buy our merch.